Welcome to the Breakfast Breakdown. John Gooden alongside Dave Lee. This lockdown ain't gonna stop us. We are socially distant. We have fights back in our lives. UFC 249, however, didn't produce any submissions, Dave, so we had to wait to Smith versus Teixeira. Off the top, how good is it to see the UFC back and some live sports for us to get our chops around?
Yeah, it's amazing, especially in this time when nothing's going on. It's a glimmer of lights that excited us all. And as we say here in England, it's like waiting for a bus, but then three of them come along at once. So yeah, amazing. It's amazing and nice and to be fair, some shows have been a bit lackluster in the card, but this has been fresh because we haven't had a show in a while. Like all the fights on the card were amazing fights.
Yeah, I obviously can't agree with you with any insinuation that things have been lackluster. All killer and no filler. You can say that. But one thing that we've spoken about in the past is the lack of submissions nowadays because everyone's level is getting higher. It really takes a skilled submission artist to actually pull it off in the octagon. And I thought it was really nice to see a submission that wasn't a rear naked choke or a guillotine. We're going to get into it in a second for you to really pick apart the detail. But for you as a guy who indulges in the submissions and the jiu-jitsu, how nice is it to see something a little bit different?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, normally you get, your high percentage submissions. So seeing a leg attack was really cool. And again, a little bit of a different leg attack because a big high percentage submission on the leg would be a heel hook. And this wasn't that. So, and it was, it's nice to see an intricate submission rather than your high percentage choke or arm bars. So yeah, it was really cool. I thought it was pretty good to see that.
So Thiago Moises versus Michael Johnson is what we're going to be talking about. It was a heel hook. It was a foot lock. It was something that talked a knee bar. I don't know, Dave, you're going to tell me all about that. In looking online, it's down as about 3 or 4 different things. So let's put up the footage and talk us through what happened.
The way he comes out this second round is crazy because it looks like he's lost 2 rounds as he shoots that double and picks that single up. Now, I really like the way he slides his shin inside to offset the balance. Now, he's trying to get that leg over the top of that leg, but he can't put the foot through. So he pushes the knee, which helps him thread that leg around, hooks it onto his body. Now it really goes for the crank, and as he starts twisting to his right side, he's going to hook the leg all the way through the legs, you see. And now the twist and torque on the knee, the 2 bones in the lower leg, it just twists and torques that knee, and it must have felt like his knee was going to explode.
Wow, that was nice work, Dave. There's so many things that I want to ask you about as a young student of the grappling arts. First and foremost, I think we just got to talk once again about the low percentage of footlocks that we see in mixed martial arts, as opposed to the real trend, I think, that has been going on in recent times, the likes of Craig Jones and Gary Tonin, who is an MMA fighter as well now. And I think he did actually land a footlock recently in ONE FC. But we often see people just planting their weight on their feet to kind of mitigate these, people grabbing hold of the heels and talking it. But it was really skillfully done here by Moises. We could see Michael Johnson was trying to put some weight on that foot, but it didn't seem to matter. Tell us how Moises managed to keep that foot his own.
The thing is the trouble is with the Achilles lock, because of the way it's it's illegal to do certain things in jiu-jitsu. So when you're grappling, the Achilles lock is a very basic lock you're allowed to do from a white belt, say, in jiu-jitsu, and it gets a little less respected over time.
Yes.
Right? So the heel hook is the scary submission, because as soon as you feel your heel and your foot stuck in a position, you can instantly feel it on your knee. Now, the trouble is with the Achilles lock, it starts out, if you imagine the bone of your arm is getting pressed into your opponent's Achilles, and it's really sort of like a muscle lock, or like you're just crunching on that ligament. So it's more just pain rather than a structure lock. You're not twisting any bones as such. So I think in his maybe muscle memory or his late reaction to it is, oh, he's got an Achilles lock, no big deal. But the trouble is with that, in a jiu-jitsu sense, you can't cross your foot over the body. It's not allowed in that rule set. But in MMA, that's not the case. There is no rules saying you cannot cross your foot over the center line. So as soon as that outside foot crosses over the center line of the body and he threads that foot around to hook the opposite side of the ribs, now you can imagine that the amount of torque on that knee as my own leg will push on my opponent's leg, it starts to change the submission to not just the fulcrum and the bone on the Achilles. It starts to change. So the pressure now turns to the knee, because obviously he's got hold of the lower leg and those two bones in there are being twisted like this. And if you can imagine your kneecap and those bones just twisting like that, that's why you might feel it in your knee, and your knee just right. And if you imagine the bones are twisting down at the bottom of the ankle end, so the last place you're going to feel it, and the amount of leverage on those bones as they twist in that knee capsule is pretty much, it must, I mean, I'm looking at that going, oh, because I can see those bones moving and feel the knee crunching, especially as he turns belly down, and as you see he loops his leg from the body through the leg, and now it's mate, that amount of torque on that is amazing. If you were to stick a broomstick in your arm and could put that broomstick in that position, you'd snap it super easy. Yeah. So I think maybe a little bit of that where he's just thought, oh, he's only got my Achilles, he hasn't got my heel, so nothing to really worry about. And then, oh, all of a sudden, he's turned it into a super Achilles lock, which then torques the two bones in the bottom, the fib and the tib just go whoop like that in the knee capsule goes bang. You know what I mean? You can imagine all that ligaments and tendons and just being twisted where they shouldn't be. So I sat there and went, oh, that was nasty.
What was it? So what do we know what we're, what
well, you'd have to ask Michael Johnson where he felt that, but I would assume you'd be feeling that in your knee, because like I said, where he's got the fulcrum is where the Achilles tendon, the foot is through. So you may feel a little bit, depending on how his foot was planted inside of his armpit, you may feel a little bit on your ankle, but really he's holding the sort of ankle still and he's twisting. So I imagine my perception of it is his knee is being forced and twisted, and I would imagine it was maybe the knee would have felt that more so.
I thought what was quite interesting, a couple of things just from like a novice level standpoint, looking at it, because as you said, it's not the most respected when you go for like a straight foot lock, ankle lock, calf crush, however people want to call it. You can do that from very early on, and you can't sometimes see higher belts, higher grades just kind of look at you and go, really? But then there was this whole thing that went around the grappling community where people were just snapping like pool cues, baseball bats and stuff, so you can get the power. But a couple of things that struck me was Thiago never, in order to get the power there, you have to really arch your back, right? You put your full structure into that to create that lock if you want. The other thing I thought was quite interesting, Dave, and I might be reading into this wrong, please tell me. So if I'm right-handed, he's left-handed. So the Gable grip for me is a really strong grip to pull everything in and then try and do something with that, or you pull down to try and use the bone. But he had an S grip, which made me kind of feel like he was always just pulling the leg across to kind of keep it.
Kind of what I'm seeing, what he's trying to do. Imagine as well, it's very easy to grab your hands when you have no gloves on.
Right.
So with the glove, it's a little different. To grab over the glove and hold a good grip, it might not be so. And plus, he's running on. You got to get that grip quick.
Yeah.
So to go here, he might. The easiest thing for him to do is just go here. And what he's doing, he's not really trying to. Even though he's pulling, he's just sinking that in.
Yes.
So even if he is pulling, he's pulling on his arm to come this way, but because Michael Johnson's leg is in there, he's got the loop that he needs, And then as soon as he's got it tight, he'll just sink it in tight and then belly down and off he's going. He's pulled the chute and he's off.
So the S grip is, I mean, I know that wrestlers will use a lot of S grip, but in MMA, it's just an easier grip to attain because of the gloves.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And really, if you think about it, he's trying to hold that leg in place, right? So if he goes here, his grip is like so, but this will pull it tight across. Too. It pulls it tight, and then he can clamp it in, and then he's running off that way. And it really, the grip's holding him tight, but it's his body that's applying that torque.
Well, I guess that kind of works with it, because if you're pulling it across or this way, and you're then turning the body, that nothing's working against anything else, and it's a nice sort of complement to the direction that he was going with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you were saying about how he weaved his legs in, that was very nice, really nice detail.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, like, because he couldn't get that foot over. So he's trying to go bridge backwards, push his hips up, but then he just uses that knee to push the body, and then it looks like he's just tying his shoelace up with his feet. You know, he's just pushing a really good dexterity with his legs. It's really nice to watch.
Yeah. Now, I know that you don't always like doing this. I'm going to prompt you for it, though. What could Michael Johnson have done in that situation it came so quickly,
Well, yeah, I mean, it didn't. As soon as he's grabbed his leg, as soon as he's pulled back into the guard position, he's kind of fallen down on it, because if you notice, what was really nice, and the reason why he fell down on it, as opposed to him, if he'd have just sat back, it might have been, Michael could have just jumped forward and put his weight on his foot. But if you see that shin, as he sits back into the submission, he's pushing his shin against the posting leg, which is making it hard. That's spreading Michael's base out, so it's making him hard to step forward onto the leg that he's got hold of.
Right.
Because the other leg's right back there. You see, that shin pushing on the leg is critical to that position. So really, he needed to deal with that shin on the leg and get over on top of him more. Maybe as he's fallen down, jump straight back up, maybe to get over that leg, so he's stepping over Thiago that way. But again, in the scramble of the moment, he hasn't got my leg too much, so that maybe your mindset is, it's not too bad. I could just reach forward, and because sometimes someone just got your ankle like that. If that, before that leg gets over the center line and crosses that leg, it's possible that I literally shorten my leg up, bend my leg, grab your elbow, and push my foot through. I think you hear DC saying he didn't kick his leg through.
Right.
So sometimes if I got a guy that's like a little more Muay Thai orientated than grappling, I will shout, "Keep your foot." So he pushes his foot forward in order to slide his leg deeper in it, so it's not so much torque on the ankle, and then get his weight on the foot. But where his base was stretched out, it was hard for him to get up. So, and then because if it would have been a heel hook, he might have had a chance to spin.
Yes.
But where he's got his leg tight, it's super hard to spin. And then as soon as that happened, he starts weaving his legs. And then it's like, he needs to clear the legs and get on top of him.
Yeah. And this is a thing, I think I haven't really looked extensively to see what the reaction has been from people for this. And maybe I'm indulging a little bit too much, but it's so rare to see a footlock now in the UFC. And I don't think this is by chance that he got that. I think when you transition to then go for the heel, there's a moment where you have to adjust your grip, right? And people know that's coming. And I don't know, for example, whether Michael thought he's going to try and heel hook me here, or even if the position was there. A lot of the time we hear, as a commentator, we'll say, why is he hanging on that leg? Because the consequences are you're getting punched in the face if it's not on, because typically someone's bearing down on you and they start hammer fisting, and you've seen people go out, they have to give up the position. So I'm just giving kudos really to Thiago for his ability to have stuck with the plan, but take what is quite a rudimentary, straightforward lock, make himself safe in an MMA bout, and also use it to finish after having lost the round.
Yeah, I think it was the speed of which he done it. It's as simple as if I was to put a object, a card, whatever, your phone, whatever it is in front of you on the table, and I go, right, I'm going to grab that before you do. Ready? And I just grab it, because I'm initiating the move. It's easier for me to grab it than it is for you to stop it. So where he's just gone super quick, he hasn't done it bit by bit. He's just gone straight at it. And I think what made that possible as well was the speed that he came out in the round. Because the first round, he was just getting popped, and he lost that round. But so I think maybe Michael Johnson's come out like, right, let's get the second round. Oh, boom. And then that bombardment of just velocity of his movement and being on the back foot, pardon the pun, but being on the receiving end of that speed, I think was made that possible as well. He's thinking, oh, no, and then he's trying to make decisions really fast. It's going to play a part in that, I reckon.
And just the last thing to end this on, Dave, for people that are new to grappling or certainly, you know, like blue belt level or white belt, blue belt, you've got to be careful not to do this in the gi. You alluded to it earlier on. Actually, a lot of what we saw there, as soon as you cross that center line, IBJJF rulings say you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
be very careful.
That's why it's not respected, because it's very easy to counter that lock in a jiu-jitsu sense. In a jiu-jitsu format, the leg cannot be crossed, so you can't, what they call reaping the knee. So they can't do that.
So that
and they
wouldn't have been allowed.
Can't allow it. So it's easy to clear your hips with that foot because it's not there. It's stuck on your hip. So it's very easy to push it aside and jump on top.
Yeah. Okay. So be careful, everyone out there that now is indulging in this and thinks they're going to try and drill it. Be very careful with that. We saw the talk on knees. That's why the knee reaping is problematic for the IBJJF rulings. But Dave, thank you very much for your breakdown of this one. Let's hope for some more submissions so that we can get back and do this again very soon.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Follow both Dave, myself on all of the socials. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, all of those good things. Thanks for watching. See you next time.